morning, soulmates. Happy Saturday, happy Women's Month, and welcome to Women of Venus from Venus and How to Love a Goddess. So, my name is Ntumba MUKENDI, aka Agape Love Speaker, bridal designer. So, are you getting married soon? Are you getting married in August? Did you get engaged this past holidays? Did you get engaged during Valentine's? Definitely check out our website at ntumba.ntumba.com. That's ntumba.ntumba.com. All right, so I discuss the mood for the day or what's been going on with me so that you can see what agape love for self looks like. Self agape love, self love. All right, so I have a train story. I have lots of train stories, but I'm gonna tell you one today. All right, so I was in a train this past week. Was it this week or the week before? This past week, right? And no, it was the week before. Okay, so I was on the train the week before. And, I was sitting in the back and, I was already feeling it. I feel energy, like I'm real sensitive to energy. I was already feeling the energy. So he sits in the back across from me, right? And I was like, I don't, that energy is not right, right? And so I just look over a little bit. And he's like, really? He's like jacking off, and I don't take that lightly. I don't take that lightly. So I want see, because I look very calm and zen, like I won't say anything. But I want to be like, yo, this dude, look at this dude. But I was like, no, I'm gonna let the police catch him in the act and see exactly what he's doing. So, I get up, I call the police and everything, right? I call the pow, and, and I told the conductor and all this and that, and, he saw what I was doing, he jumped out, but no, I look quiet and all zen, but you find out the hard way. I got a DMX in me, okay? Y'all gonna make me lose my mind up in here, No, I don't take those lightly. But seriously, guys like that, it's a mental health issue. I understand. It's a mental health issue. Anything of that nature, anything of just violating someone's space like that and in public and broad daylight, or just in general. Woman, please speak up out loud. I mean, out loud, because they live in silence. Okay, they breathe in silence. Okay, anything of that nature. Teach your children. If anybody touches them the wrong way or anything, to speak up out loud, because they breathe in silence. Okay, I speak up. I do not take that lightly. That was my past following. Not this week, but like week before that, right? So, and that is no way to treat a goddess. Okay, that is no way to treat a goddess. That is no way to treat a goddess. All this here, all this goddess material. That is no way to treat the goddess. So, how to treat a goddess? Right, let's moving right along. Yeah, so the point of that story is how to self-care or give yourself agape love is to speak up out loud when you are being violated, like out loud, okay? So, moving right along. Okay, so how to treat a goddess? Let's see. I have this stuff all this week. Okay. So women, they just need to feel loved in a relationship, right? And she ruled the world, run the world. Okay. The guys, it's more respect. They need to feel respected, and you can move mountains. Okay. So how to make a woman feel loved, and she will glow when she feels loved. Okay. All right. So how to make a woman feel loved? There are two ways. I'm just gonna bring up two ways, but of course, there's more ways. But I'm just gonna make 2 pointers. Two ways to make a woman feel loved, and it's actually by making her feel safe in two different ways. All right. But first, I'm going to start with the very, very beginning. Very beginning. Let me just scroll over. Just scrolling over. Oh my God! Just thinking about last week. That was some crazy stuff. Let's see. Okay, the beginning. I see it. Okay, so let me start from the beginning. Okay, so as I always mention, right, from the very beginning, we are agape love in the fifth dimension, right, and it has two elements. Agape love has two elements. So there is a will to be love, right? A will to be loved, and then the allowance to be loved, right? So you will yourself into agape love, okay? And you allow it as well. So it's two elements, just will and then allowance, because agape love goes one direction. So it is unconditional because it's going one direction. There is no give and take. The way we've been taught it's not unconditional. Give and take is not unconditional. It's just a will to be, right, and allowed to be. So the will is manifested as a male energy in the third dimension, and the allowance to be is manifested as female energy in the third dimension, right? But the allowance to be as a female energy is misinterpreted, right? It gets misinterpreted. You know how you play the telephone game with the cups and the string, and by the time it gets to the last person, it's kind of convoluted, right? So by the time it gets to the third dimension, because the fifth dimension is the language of oneness, and then the third dimension is the language of duality, give and take, right? And then the fifth dimension is the language of oneness. It's just one and one direction, right? So by the time it gets down to the female energy in the third dimension, allowance is mistranslated, by the way, translated as giving, right? As giving. So now there has to be a give and take, but it's not really about giving. Okay, it's about allowing, but in the third dimension is translated as giving. So the way to rectify that translation, right, so that it is allowance, is by making the woman feel love, and then she'll allow the love, and then you'll have unconditional love that would flow through everyone, female energy and male energy, and everyone will be fulfilled because unconditional love fulfills everyone. Okay, so just follow along. I know the language is a oneness language, so it just sounds a little bit complicated, but as I talk, you'll start to get what I'm saying. So how to make a woman feel loved is by making her feel safe in two ways. First is emotionally. How you make her feel safe emotionally is by learning her love language. What is her love language? How do you even learn a woman's love language? Okay. So by listening. So the listening grabs, not grabs, but brings everything together. So those two elements go hand in hand, listening to her. And once you learn her love language, that's not enough. Just learning and doing her love language is not enough. The key thing is initiating. Okay, so if you get this, guys, that woman will do anything for you. If you get this, that woman will do anything for you. Initiating her love language. So it's not just enough to listen to what her love language is, doing her love language, but initiating it without her telling you. That's why you always hear, or you hear a lot. Well, I have to tell you, so it's all messed up now, right? I have to tell you to do it. Do I have to tell you? Do I have, So it's like, right? So, the initiating part is so important because it is a mirror of what's going on in the fifth dimension. So when you're initiating, the initiating is what's manifested as the will. So when you're initiating, you are opening up the door for this unconditional love to come through, right? So what you're initiating is preferences. What you're initiating is preferences, but the initiating is very important because it's the mirror of what's going on in the fifth dimension, and the fifth dimension is the will, and the will is everything because it's like a free will to be agape love. Okay, and so and then she will allow the love to come through, and it's gonna come through. It's gonna go through her and back to you. It's not a counter flow. It's a one flow, like full circle. It's a one full circle flow, unconditional love. So what you're initiating is a preference, and the preference is her love language, and that's what's gonna make that connect and make that unconditional love flow. So there are five love languages, right? 5 love languages. Let me read all 5 of them. 5 that we know of, that we could identify. There could be more. All right, so the first one is words of affirmation. Speaking life into her, positive words. And the second one is quality time, spending quality time with her, that's mine. It's like, even with like my best friends, like I have this friend, she's always canceling, and it was making me so convoluted, like, what close, I don't understand, does she not like me? It was like making me so convoluted and asking all types of questioning everything. I was questioning everything. Why does the sun rise from the east, sets in the west? Like, questioning everything. Until I spoke to another friend, and he's like, "Is she an Aries?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, Aries do not come through. They do not. They'll talk about it positively and all this and that. They do not come through. They'll come through for somebody else's project, but they're not. That's when everything started making sense. Everything started making sense. Why should we cancel every time we're supposed to hang out? It's like. But anyway, so my thing is quality time. I usually don't have a problem with that with guys spending quality time with me. Like, I usually don't. All right. Third one is acts of service. Acts of service. When a person is sick, make them soup, or doing little things like like the guy that had dated, went on a date with a couple of dates with me. Like, he just offered to like assemble my barbecue grill. Like, those are acts of service. When guys do stuff for you. To some people, that's a love language, right? And then gifts is some people like that. It's like it's telling them you love them. And there is, last one is physical touch, hugging, or, just hand holding, and, you know, physical touch. So those are the 5 love language. So in order to learn hers, you gotta listen, right? Listen to her. That's a big element. And it doesn't stop there. It has to be initiated. Once you learn it, it has to be initiated for it to just flow. Okay, that's the key thing. Initiated without her telling you, without her telling you. Or you could just ask her, what are her 5 love languages? And a lot, there are times, because in this society we're breeded not to listen to each other. For guys, it's like, in this society, we breed guys to be able to speak up, but we're not going to listen to what they're saying when it comes to their emotions. For women, it's like they can't even speak up. It's like, if you speak up, you're a bitch, okay? You're known as a, if you have a strong personality, you speak up. It's like this thing about being a bitch, right? So a lot of times, there are times where she's not even going to know what her love language is. And then when it comes to listening to her, sometimes she doesn't even know what she's feeling. So you may want to ask her, well, what do you want me to be for you right now? Do you want me to sit down and listen to you? Or do you want me to sit in another room? Or do you want me to just sit and watch TV with you? Or do you want me to just hold you? Like, kind of gauge what she wants, because there are times where she's not going to know, because we're not breeded to like express our feelings in society. And let me see what else. So those are the 5 love languages. And remember, initiate. All right, so that's the emotional safety. Now, when you make her feel safe emotionally, that's like halfway in. I mean, not even halfway in. That's a big percentage of her, of how to love a goddess, and of her like really being into you. And do this with someone that you know she's already interested in you, that she's already checking you out. Don't go say, well, Tumba told me to do this, and you to fall in love with me, or she's gonna fall in love. Tumba didn't tell you jack. Okay. So make sure the person already is kind of checking you out and stuff like that. And these are the things that will take it further, and deeper. Okay. That's how to love a goddess. All right. And then the second way to make her feel safe is her physical boundaries. Okay. If you make her physical boundaries, if you make her feel safe within her physical boundaries, she'll do anything. But it's like, it's a huge part of it, but it's not all it is. It has to be emotionally big part of it, and then the second part physically. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example of physical safety. All right, so way back, way back, I lived in California. I just moved there to see what I was made of, like find myself, in the Bay Area for like 3 years. And there's a lot of Nigerians there, a lot of Ethiopians. So I went on a date with a Nigerian, and Congolese people, when we dance, we move our butts and our hips and everything. And at the time, Nigerians were still kind of conservative when it comes to dancing. They're like, the shoulders more and whatever. And Ethiopians also move like their shoulders, whatever, right? So we like move up, but we're very sensuous, But we don't put sex in it. You know what I'm saying? It's just sensuality. It's celebrating our sensuality. And so we went dancing, and I was just dancing my Congolese way. Listen, I've been dancing like this since I popped out of my mom's stomach. Okay. And we were dancing, and I was dancing my Congolese way, and then after the date, he was just about to drive me home. We were sitting in the car, and he thought I wanted to give him some because of the way I was dancing. He said, "Wow, look at the way you were dancing." I was like, "What? You better take me home, brother. It's about to be, yo." So, he took me home. But the fact that he thought that I wanted to give him some just because of the way I was dancing, I didn't feel safe at all. Physically safe. And but now look, everybody's dancing like Congolese people. See, Congolese people, we started all these trends. Everybody's dancing, Nigerians, everybody just moving their butt, shaking their butt, whatever, their hips or whatever. So and then it's like that mindset is I think it's triggering because that mindset is triggering because during colonialism, it's like the colonizers. Black Panther movie, the colonizers. So the colonizers, right? They would come to Africa and they would see us like, either like in particular areas. I don't know, yeah, like in particular areas, like walking around buck naked or dancing very sensuous and stuff like that. And they put sex in it, raping our woman and thinking that we want it or it's like that's like triggering. And I think that mindset is actually it's a savage mindset, to put sex into everything, when that's not the intention. Now, if you have two people that mutually want it or not ready for a relationship, that's a totally different story. But when you go into an environment or when you run into someone that's not putting sex into it, do not impose that. Okay, do not impose that. So I think it's a savage mindset, right? To think, to treat us that way, right? And but we were evolved. We were already evolved. We don't just put sex into, or we don't sexualize the body. We don't sexualize our dances. So we're very evolved, right? And I think everybody is is part of that. Is a product of that mentality, right? It's a product of that mentality, me included, because as much as I always speak about wanting to be walking around naked, being evolved, or whatever, he asked me to go to a nude beach. It's like, I don't have the courage, right? I don't have the courage to go to a nude beach. So I think I'm a product of that mentality, of that, So that's an example of physical safety and sensuality. A woman could celebrate her sensuality without you sexualizing her, right? So like when you go to on a date, even like early on a date, until you get to really know her, and you really have to get to know her, know if it has become a word of affirmation, call her sexy or whatever. If it has become through the process, if it has become a word of affirmation, or like in the beginning, it's like you don't just start giving her compliments on her body part, like, dang that booty, what I'm saying? She's not gonna feel safe, she's not gonna feel safe. Sexual chakra, it's like she's not gonna feel safe, you know what I mean? You can tell I watched Coming to America Part 2 yesterday. So I'm gonna keep anyway, never mind. So, those are the two things: making her feel safe, learn her, listen to her, making her feel safe emotionally and physically. That's how you love a goddess. That's how you love a goddess. Okay, and learn. So yeah. Okay, so that's the point too. Conclusion. Yeah, making her feel safe physically and emotionally, and listening to her Okay, and just remember, she may not know what she's feeling or what she wants at the moment. Listen to her body language, her, you know. So you may have to ask her, what do you want me to be right now? And so those are the pointers for today. The 2 pointers for today. Yeah, those are the 2 pointers for today. It's my alarm clock. My top's up. So those are the 2 pointers for today. Have a love of goddess, all right? Making her feel safe emotionally, physically, listening to her, learning her language of love. It may be a mixture of two, learning her language of love. Or you can just ask her, right? Make sure you initiate it. It's not just enough to know it. Make sure you initiate it. And that girl will adore you. Okay, because men and women are meant to be adored. Okay, adored, worship. The God in us. And that's how you love a goddess. Okay, so guys, thank you for watching this video. Thank you for letting me share this information. Thank you for letting me share this information. Soulmates. We are soulmates. There's no coincidence. That's why you're watching this video, because you're resonating with it and you had planned this in the 5th dimension to come across watching this video. So we are soulmates. So peace and soul.